Hello, my name is Kurt, you're watching Anime Basic, and today I'm going to be reviewing the brand spanking new anime series out on Disney Plus, set in the Star Wars universe, Star Wars Visions. Now I want to preface the main content of this review by telling you all ahead of time, I'm a pretty basic Star Wars fan / watcher. I have watched all 9 films in the Skywalker saga, as well as Solo and Rogue One. I've also watched a little bit of the Clone Wars TV show. I haven't watched anything past that, and I've never read any of the extended universe books or comic books. Now to my understanding, Star Wars Visions is not canon. The executive producer of the show has said that the writers and animators were not required to tie into any existing continuity, so the episodes should be able to be enjoyed without a huge amount of Star Wars knowledge. This first episode was a banger, and I think my favourite out of the 9 episodes we got with Star Wars Visions. This episode uses 3D CG, but it is heavily stylized. It's mostly black and white, but what colour is used very effectively. In fact, the duel is so stylized, you could freeze frame any frame in this episode, and it will look like it's straight from a manga panel. The music reminded me of Ghost in the Shell, and while this episode doesn't feel like traditional Star Wars, that's what I really love about it. Now the last thing I want to say about the duel is this. I need a whole series just based on the Ronin from this episode. Now, I was personally not a fan of the art style used in this episode, although it has its charm. Tatooine Rhapsody has fun music that also forms the basis for the episode, and it was kind of nice to go from a super serious story to a pretty light-hearted one. Now going in, I knew that 2 of the 9 episodes were going to be done by Studio Trigger. In fact, what actually made me click on the Star Wars Visions trailer when it got released a few months ago was a thumbnail for it that had the main character from this episode, because it looked like he was designed by Studio Trigger. And he was! This episode has got that smooth as hell, Studio Trigger look that I love, and also feels more like traditional Star Wars. I would love to see a whole series based on this episode. Now for my gripes with this episode. I don't really like that the main character looks a bit too much like Leo Fautia from Promare, which if you haven't seen Promare, go do that immediately, and Alison Brie voices Am in this episode. Now, I like Alison Brie in her live action roles and other animation roles she's done, but the role of Am in this episode required a lot of yelling, and when she did yell, all I heard was Crazy Annie from Community. I don't have much to say about The Village Bride. The music is beautiful and the art style is simple, but looks fantastic. What I find interesting is there aren't many things that give away that this is Star Wars. So I think you could probably show it to someone without the title and they would never know it's Star Wars right until the end. This episode had very high quality animation with a fantastic art style. It really feels like a lot of time and money went into the production. The action scenes look spectacular, and even though it's only 20 minutes, I was heavily invested in the story. Now I got major Astro Boy vibes from this episode, to the point where I wonder if it was intentional. I'm not really a fan of the 2D animation being used with a 3D background in some scenes, as the camera rotates around the room and truly shows off how flat everything in the room is. The visuals did look really good at the end, though it feels like some sound effects were missing from the end of the episode. Also, seeing classic Star Wars characters in an overly cute art style was pretty funny to me. This is the second episode that Studio Trigger did for Star Wars Visions, and I was pretty disappointed at first, to be honest, as the art style is pretty basic and the animation feels pretty stilted in the beginning. However, I came around to the episode as the backgrounds look fantastic, the fight scenes look amazing, and the budget definitely went into the second half of the episode. This episode was a surprise to me. The art style and animation are superb. Everything looks like a painting. The music was beautiful, and I could easily see this being turned into a feature-length anime film. Lop and Ocho was definitely one of my favourites out of the 9 episodes, which I was not expecting at all. This episode was probably my least favourite. I'm not a fan of the art style used for the characters at all. It looks super odd. Even the action feels very bland. That's the thing that should be done best. The music at the end of the episode is cool and the backgrounds look fantastic, but overall I think that this episode ended Star Wars Visions on a low note. I finished Star Wars Visions. I watched all 9 episodes back to back, which wasn't difficult as most of them are 15 minutes or under, and I enjoyed my time with most of these 9 stories told to us. There were some low parts, but when an episode hit its high, it hit it. There are at least a few of these episodes I would like to be turned into a full anime series or feature-length anime film. In fact, I think it would be cool if Disney used Star Wars Visions as a way to introduce new series, kind of like how backdoor pilots are done in American TV shows to gauge an interest from the general public before greenlighting a full series order. I really liked Star Wars Visions, and I hope we get more seasons in the future. Overall, I'd give the series an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have you watched Star Wars Visions? Are you planning to if you haven't? I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys could like and subscribe, I'd be super thankful. My name is Kurt, you've been watching Anime Basic, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.